Greetings. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the issue and the miserable lie that Jesus was a Jew. Alright, let's see, let's go to the New Testament, the book that the Christians, sacred, and they believe in. And answer those evil Zionists among the Christians, and not all Christians are Zionists, or rotten slaves to the Jewish nation, or the Israeli state. If we go to John, the book of John, chapter 4, verse 9, it says, the Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." All right. Guess what? How many millions of Christians in the world today? None of them know that Jesus Christ is not a Jew. This is the only verse in the New Testament coming from a Samaritan woman. Samaritan, let me explain to those who don't know. Israelis are 12 tribes, the children of Jacob. One of those children is named Judah. So one tribe, Judah tribe, are the Jews, the origin of the Jews. The rest 11 tribes are not Jews, they are Israelis, children of Israel. Like the Levi and the Joseph and the Benjamin and all the rest. They are not Jews, but Israelis, nevertheless. So this Samaritan woman is an Israeli from the other 11 tribes. Now, why she thought that Jesus is a Jew? She never saw him in her life that day. He came to ask her for a drink. And she said, she was shocked because, Jews do not associate, do not interact with the other Israeli tribes, the 11 other Israeli tribes. Jews are hypocrites, prejudiced against their brethren from the Israelis. Clearly mentioned in the Old Testament. So she was shocked. But the question is, she never saw him before in her life. How come she said that you are a Jew? And all those millions of Christians today, they follow the false testimony of this woman, following her ignorance about the man. So what's the story here? All right, according to the New Testament, if it's true, because I doubt anything that this New Testament say, Joseph was raised by someone called Joseph, the carpenter, who was supposed to be engaged to Mary. That's a lie as well. Mary, the mother of Jesus. So he was a Jew from the Judah tribe, from the descendants of David, according to the book. Now, if a Jew raises a child, adopted a child, what do you expect he will dress him like? An Indian? Hindu? No, he will dress him like a Jew. So when this Samaritan woman who knows how Jews dress, and we know today, even today, we can differentiate this little nonsense that they put on their heads. We can tell, oh, this is a Jew. So the same with the Samaritan woman. She saw him dressed like a Jew. She said, you are a Jew. She never saw him in her life. And with the first encounter, she judged him. You are a Jew. Now, why Jesus didn't respond? Why he didn't correct her? Because he is carrying a message. Important, vital information. He is not going to debate this ignorant woman about this false claim. He didn't come to waste his time. There is no time to waste. This is an Israeli woman, Samaritan. And he said in the book of Matthew, I came only for the lost sheep of Israel. And this is one of the sheep he came for. He's not going to come into a debate. Oh, I'm not a Jew. I'm a Jew. No, because my mother is this from the Levites, and I am from a Levite. He's not going to do that. So he did just this, skip over. Go to the important thing. I'm going to give you a drink that you will never thirst. Eternal life. Okay. Now that's her excuse, but I don't know what's the excuse of millions of Christians today and through the last 2,000 years for not understanding this. I don't know. You ask them. This is the only verse in the book that says, you are Jesus, you are a Jew. Based on a false testimony, of course. All right, fine. So, this does not prove that Jesus was a Jew. Anyway. Now, before I continue, let me ask the question, where those Jews come from? This Jews ignorant title. Where does it come from? Now, some naive Christians, and they are in millions, they think that Jews and Hebrews are from the beginning of time. No, this is not the truth. This is a lie. Let me tell you in brief the history of this nation. First of all, according to the Christians, between Adam and Abraham, 2,000 years. Now, those 2,000 years, we never had a Jew. Then the Old Testament lies and says about Abraham in Genesis that he was a Hebrew. We never heard this stupidity in history. Abraham was from Babylon, from Ur, a city Ur, south of Iraq, today's Iraq, named Babylon. None of the Babylonians are Hebrew. So no, that's a lie in the Old Testament. Abraham was not a Hebrew. Hebrew is the language of the Israelis, that they were not born those days. A big lie in the Old Testament, in the book of Genesis. And that book is so full with lies and filth, porn. Now, Abraham had his firstborn, dear idiot, ignorant Zionist among the Christians. Not all Christians are Zionists. Abraham had his firstborn son, Ishmael. His firstborn, it's clearly mentioned. Ignorant idiots, son of the slave. Then he had Isaac. And finally he had 5 sons. Midian was one of them. And 1 daughter. From his 3rd wife, her name is Keturah in Genesis. So let's go to Isaac now. Isaac had 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. From Jacob, we have 12 sons. One of them is called Judah. Now, Israelis went after Joseph to Egypt, and then they were enslaved, and then Moses liberated them. And then, they came back to Palestine, and then they lived for a short period of time, this everlasting land, promise from God. Look at the lie. 400 years slaves in Egypt, 40 in the desert, 100 years under Babylon and Persia. And this land is for them forever. Does that God know what forever means? It was never for them. Even today, only 70 years, but they will be kicked out soon as a punishment for what they have done. Again, from Babylon, they came back, and from Persia, with the help of the Persian king, Cyrus. Now, the Judah tribe used to live in south of Palestine, And the rest of the 10 tribes used to live in the north. One tribe, stayed in Jordan. Those 10 tribes in the north are called Samaria, the kingdom of the north, Israeli kingdom. And the south was Judea, because of the Judah tribe. When they went to Babylon and punished by the Lord for their evil, they came back. All of them came to Judea, where Judah tribe used to live. So now the Judah tribe, the hypocrites and the prejudiced, to differentiate themselves from the other Israelis, the brethren, they started to call themselves, every one from Judah tribe in Jerusalem became to be known as Jew, as a Jew. So, we are talking over 4,000, 5,000 years. Jews did not exist in the beginning. And Hebrew came to exist just the 2,700 years by Solomon. Solomon saw a nation, an empire, and they don't have a language. Some of them, they spoke the Chaldeans or the Iraqi Aramaic. Some of them spoke the hieroglyphic Egyptian language. They stayed 400 years there. They learned the language. So they don't have their own language. So Solomon, with his wisdom, finally decided, and he said, let's have a language. And they had Hebrew. Hebrew language existed 2,700 years back, not before that. All other are lies about Abraham being a Hebrew. Very well. So now we are stuck with the problem if Jesus was a Jew from the Judah tribe, from the descendants of David. Now we solve the issue. Okay, if you look at the Holy Book, look at the Old Testament, which is called the Tanakh, Torah Ketubim Nabuim, the Torah and the writing of the prophets, according to the Jews, which is not. It's a lie. Moses has nothing to do with it. The prophets had nothing to do with it. If you look from the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, those are falsely called the 5 books of Moses, another lie from the Jews and the Christians. Moses had nothing to do with those books. If you look further down, after the 5 books, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles. You are talking 700 pages, 2/3 of the book. The Old Testament, the Tanakh, the word Jew, not mentioned, not even one time. Not one time. And Moses, who brought the faith, the Israeli faith, never heard of this word Jew. He used to call him, O Israel. Go look through the whole book. Not before the book of Ezra, the one who knows the book and the teaching according to them and their lies. Ezra, who invented all those books before him, and some Jewish priests, rabbis. So no, the word Jew was never mentioned before the book of Ezra. That's 2/3 of the book of the Old Testament. Moses never heard of it. And I challenge all the Jews on this earth and all the Christians, and especially the Zionists among the Christians. Not all Christians are Zionists, but the stupid Zionists among the Christians, those rotten slaves to the Israeli Jews. I challenge all of them to prove me wrong. And guess what? The word Judaism is a Christian invention. Those stupid invented this. Some stupid invented this. If you go to the Old Testament, to the old versions of the New Testament, you will find the religion of the Jew, the religion of the Jew, the religion of the Jew. In recent days, they made a New Testament, new version, and they ask how God allows, His book to be corrupted. You don't know Christians. All the verses, the religion of the Jews, Christians have altered and changed to say Judaism. It's a lie. There is nothing called Judaism. There is nothing called Christianity. Search the book, the 66, or even 76 with the Apocrypha. There is nothing called Christianity. This Christian evil title, was invented by Paul in the book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26. He said, and the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Jesus used to call them the disciples or Nazarene. Here come Paul, the God of the Christians, and he changed the title and called them Christians. But the word Christianity is non-biblical, period. Search the books and come back. Look in the box under the video on YouTube. You will have my email and my whole information. Contact me. Tell me if I'm wrong. Correct me. Thank you for watching.